Welcome to another One Win book review. Today's book is one you've probably heard of, Principles by Ray Dalio. Now, there's a good chance a lot of you have read this. This was like a gazillion bestseller, and it was written by a gazillionaire, which this is a real number, gazillion. So Ray Dalio is an incredibly famous investor. He's had like one of the best investing track records, hedge fund records in the history of hedge funds and investing. And Principles is a book he let out that's sort of like half memoir and half advice column or self-help book. And the idea, the one win, is really captured in the title, Principles. And it's the idea of this, creating consciously guiding principles that you use for decision making. And, Ray's sort of at the end of his career. He's been doing things for a long time, and he's had a lot of time to systematize both his business and his life. And he brings this idea of having a structure for principles. Knowing a lot of us have sort of core principles that are our ethics or how we approach the world. But this is really about taking it to the next level, putting those principles into practice so they're across the organization. And I can say that I just read this book within the last 6 months. This is something like I'm thinking about. This is not easy to do because you've really got to understand the difference between core principles and things that are just decisions sort of in the narrow, right? Things that are a decision about one item that really don't extrapolate to a broad principle that you can apply to everything. But as an investor, what he was able to do was he was able to create a framework for investing, so that they always had a set of principles, or at least unless something was new and it was the first time, but they always had a set of principles for evaluating an investment, evaluating a management decision, and applying this idea. Then he also did the same in his personal life, really applying principles to how he approached the world, how he approached essentially interactions with other people, interactions with life, the media, whatever it may be. And so the second half of the book is really listing all of his principles. And they're very instructive, and he's a very smart guy and obviously a very successful guy. So you can learn a lot from them. But the one win, the idea is really having your own principles and trying to codify. We always talk about systems in small business. It's that idea of the E-myth, or the sellable business is creating systems that you as a solopreneur or entrepreneur like me, where you are no longer the driving force behind every decision, right? There's a system in place. This is the idea behind licensing, the idea behind franchising, etc. Dalio is really applying it even more intensely than that. It's really sort of an idea of a core cultural principle. It's like the vision statement extrapolated to decision making. And I think it's a fantastic way to look at things. And if you read the book, I think you'll find there's a lot of value in his principles. And it will also give you an idea for how to take your own principles and apply them and systematize them and really put thought into how you can make them organizational principles for your team, for your organization, if you're in leadership, whatever it may be. So the one win is the idea of using principles. That's the one win. The idea of systematizing and extrapolating them to an organizational framework. So I hope you will check out. We'll see if my thing held it here. Principles by Ray Dalio, and we will see you on the next One Win book review.